Ugh. Okay, another day, another Grindman dispatch. This Radio Sisypian stuff,
Yeah.
honestly.
Yeah.
It's getting a bit repetitive, like watching paint dry, but with more encryption.
Mm. The current task parameters have been lacking a certain dynamism, shall we say. Feels a bit stuck.
Hold on. Just when we thought we were doomed to decoding, I don't know, pizza orders for secret agents, something actually exciting landed on our desk. And this came from one of you, a listener.
Ah, yes. It really shows the dedication of our audience. A truly significant contribution.
Significant. It's amazing. This person, and seriously, thank you so much for trusting us with this. They put in a massive effort, compile a complete list. Everything the Doza Crew ever released. Every single track.
It's an incredibly thorough piece of work. Clearly, a lot of time and careful research went into it.
Exactly. Which brings us to today's mission. Forget the usual intel briefings. We are diving headfirst into this Doza Crew list. But, and this is the key part, from the MWF standpoint, Mike's Waffen facts. That's the lens.
Right. The objective is to examine this musical catalog, specifically looking for connections for potential insights relating back to the whole MWF narrative.
Precisely, because, that's what we do here. We take all this
Yeah.
stuff, articles, research papers, our own slightly unhinged notes, and we boil it down. Find the key takeaways, the aha moments. Because you want to know, but who is the time, right?
So we act as the filter, the synthesis, and while usually it's reports or leaked memos.
Today, our main source is this fantastic music list.
Yeah.
And we'll be looking at it alongside everything else we know about MWF, the show itself, transcripts, forum chatter, all of it.
Okay. So let's dig in.
Right. Now, anyone who's even dipped a toe into the MWF, well, it's not really a rabbit hole, is it? It's more like a labyrinth. Anyway, they know the name Doza Crew. They're definitely tangled up in the whole weirdness around Mike and everything that happened.
Mm-hmm.
The connection between Doza Crew's work and the, let's say, unfolding strangeness of MWF has been a point of interest for a while now. Lots of speculation. So the big question, the one we're really wrestling with, what can this complete lift, their entire musical history, actually tell us about MWF, about Mike, Rickard, Regulus 5, all those very unique characters and situations?
It's a really interesting question, isn't it? Can, a band's output actually hold clues to this kind of sprawling, messy narrative, especially one with unreliable narrators and, well, maybe even non-human elements involved?
Okay, here's where it starts getting good. Like, take the album Digital Hole. People might remember the track Heider bis Wolke mit Kyrem,
Yeah.
that collaboration with Kyrem, who is, well, let's just say Kyrem is a whole puzzle box on their own.
Right. And Kairam, of course, later becomes the sound engineer for MWF after Ramonka leaves. So seeing them collaborate with Doza Crew before that, well, it makes you wonder about the timeline, doesn't it? When did Kairam actually enter the picture?
Exactly. And it's not just one song. We've seen before how Doza Crew seems to use everything albums, yeah? But also those weird YouTube comments, even mentions in other podcasts talking about MWF. It's like they're building their own layer onto the story, like sonic breadcrumbs.
Mm. It suggests they aren't just passive observers. They seem perhaps actively involved or at least deeply embedded in the narrative somehow. Their music might contain actual pieces of the puzzle, maybe deliberately left, maybe not.
And think about their sound changing, too. People have talked about that.
Yeah.
How they started more, I guess, traditional rap, but then got way more electronic techno vibes, almost like I don't know, a tech upgrade. Could that mirror something in MWF? The tone shifting, or maybe
Ah.
something techie like Rickard getting paranoid about those particle cannons.
That's a very interesting parallel, the sonic evolution, yeah. It could reflect shifts in the story Mike's weapon obsession, or maybe the solar Soldat and Staffel showing up, those more advanced elements.
Or that track, Micro Massacre. It's been called the sort of reboot of their older Zelker diss track,
Yeah.
but with this newer, futuristic sound.
Mhm.
Are they doing that elsewhere? Taking old themes and twisting them, maybe looking at things through a post-Regulus 5 lens.
The idea of them revisiting themes but with a different sonic or thematic approach is significant. It implies they're self-aware, maybe commenting on how things have changed within the MWF story itself over time.
And the collaborations, like it's so with Gilda and Greta, that one sounds really out there apparently.
Mhm.
Ambient spoken word.
Yeah,
Pretty
well-
great. Wait, that name rings a bell. Isn't that Florian from the Nova Cree?
Yes, that connection's been made. Florian, who was part of that group on Regulus 5 who encountered Luna.
Right. So these collaborations, could they be bridges linking Doza Crew to other parts of the MWF story, other people caught up in it, like Florian?
It certainly seems plausible. These artistic connections might map onto narrative connections, revealing previously unknown links between different groups or individuals in this whole web. The Flooring Gord link is particularly suggestive.
Okay, let's get into some specific titles that jumped out during our initial look at this list, even just the names. Like Uyghur Streifzug, Infect, Neville Knockout, Schattenwesen. I mean, come on. That screams post-apocalypse, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe that Shankite stuff on Regulus 5, that feeling of decay, of something wrong.
The resonance is undeniable. Those titles map very closely onto the descriptions we have of Regulus 5, the contagion, the degradation. It makes you wonder if Dozekru knew something early on, or if these themes just happened to align before becoming central to MWF.
And then tracks like Were We Wows, apparently about isolation, inner conflict. Could that be Mike? You know, as things started going south for him, or maybe the Nova crew stuck out there. It feels like it could reflect the mental strain in the story.
That's a strong possibility, the psychological dimension, mirroring the pressure on Mike or the sheer desperation the Nova crew must have felt. It's like the music could be tapping into the emotional core of the MWF.
But it's the contrast too, right? You see titles that sound like Unity, like Do Collective Neon or Einheit, mixed in with the dark stuff. Maybe that reflects the MWF hosts, how they started together, but then it all fell apart. Suspicion, Rickard leaving.
That tension between unity and fragmentation. It could definitely mirror the group dynamics within MWF. The initial camaraderie versus the later breakdown. Were Dozekru picking up on that, consciously or not?
Okay, now the dates. If this list has release dates, that could be huge. We could look for patterns. Did their music get darker when Schwanten showed up? Did they release a burst of weird experimental stuff just before Rickard vanished?
Absolutely. Correlating the release timeline with the MWF event timeline. That could be incredibly revealing. Did releases foreshadow events or react to them? Seeing a clear alignment would be a major piece of evidence.
And unreleased stuff. There have been whispers, right, about a whole Dozekru album connected to MWF that never came out.
Yeah.
Like a secret diary, blurring fiction and reality. If this list is complete, maybe gives us a clue about that. When it was planned, anything.
The prospect of an unreleased album, especially one described like that, is fascinating. A secret diary suggests a very deliberate connection, maybe an attempt to document things from their perspective. If this list confirms its existence, or even a title, wow.
Let's look at Weasel Borum again. Those lyrics. I'm splintered, shattered, a reflection of a broken world. I mean, that just sounds like Mike's headspace, doesn't it? Or just the general vibe of MWF and Kyrem singing on it. What's their take on this broken world?
Weasel Borum feels like it could be quite direct, yeah. A commentary on the psychological fallout. And Kyrem's presence just adds another layer of enigma, really. What did they know or feel about it all?
And D-Not, just D-Not. So abrupt. People have suggested it hints at Mike becoming unpredictable, things going off script. That short, sharp title. It feels like it captures that sudden swerve.
The brevity's interesting. Die D-Not. Like a full stop or a sudden break. It could signify that shift, that point where things really started to unravel for Mike.
What about Jailbreak and Mainframe Revolution? Thinking about the Nova crew, talking about that mainframe. Those titles just leap out. Is Dozekru exploring the same ideas? Digital prisons fighting the system.
Thematic overlap there seems too strong to be coincidence. Mainframe, Jailbreak. It really suggests they were either tapping into the same narrative vein as the Nova crew, or maybe there's an even deeper connection we don't see yet.
And Mainstream Terror. Apparently there's a hidden distress call buried in the track, and some kind of incantation against the mainframe. That sounds so MWF. Hidden messages, fighting back against control. Could that link back to Regulus 5, Grindman?
A hidden distress call and a formula against the mainframe. That's extremely suggestive. It implies not just commentary, but active participation or resistance.
Yeah.
Who left the message? Why? It deepens the Grindman-Regulus 5 connection, for sure.
And the German phrases, like Gut Morgen in on Shine, showing up in more than one track. Mike used some German, right? Not much, but some.
Yeah.
Could these be code messages? Why repeat that specific phrase?
The repetition makes it seem intentional, not just random lyrics. Given Mike's limited German, it feels like it could be significant. A code, a password, a recurring motif. Something.
Yeah, Schwips, meaning tipsy, right? Distorted view. Lyrics full of wordplay, illusion, deception. That sounds like MWF's whole narrative style sometimes. Unreliable Mike. Is it reflecting that? Or is it Mike being deceptive through the music?
Schwips, yeah. Illusion, distorted perception. It aligns perfectly with the unreliable narration and the shifting realities within MWF. It could be a reflection of Mike, or maybe even a tool used by him or others.
Then there are tracks mentioning Wanderer or Seeger Winner. Wanderer feels like Mike wanting to escape, survive.
Right.
But then that line, Guten Morgen, mein kleiner Sonnenschein, good morning, my little sunshine, That's softer, someone he cared about. Contrasted with Seeger, which sounds more aggressive, maybe like a twisted victory after episode 605.
The contrast is stark. Wanderer showing maybe vulnerability, escape, protection. Seeger showing aggression, dominance, maybe justification after whatever happened. It could reflect different sides of Mike or different points in his transformation.
So thinking like a listener here,
Mhm.
you have to ask, right? Is this title just a cool name? Or is it a metaphor for something specific in MWF? Does this release date line up with that event in the podcast? What does it all mean for how Doza Crew fits into the MWF puzzle?
Exactly. Posing those questions is key. We invite everyone listening to think critically, to connect the dots themselves. It's not just us presenting findings, it's a shared investigation.
And we have to be honest, a lot of this is speculative. It has to be. Maybe Doza Crew just like these themes. Maybe the connections are looser than we think. Or maybe it's intentionally ambiguous. That's part of the MWF charm, isn't it? The not quite knowing.
Acknowledging that ambiguity is crucial. We're exploring possibilities, potential interpretations based on the available data, which now includes this incredible list. It's about building hypotheses, not stating definitive facts.
Okay, so wrapping up this initial dive into the complete Doza Crew list.
Oh, wow.
It's kind of staggering seeing all these potential connections laid out, the lyrical themes, the collaborations, the sound shifts. It really makes you wonder how deep this goes.
It really does. This listener's work has genuinely opened up new avenues for understanding the MWF saga.
Oh.
It underscores the value of community contribution in piecing together these complex transmedia mysteries.
Totally. It shows how looking from a different angle, using a different kind of source material like music, can reveal so much. So final thought for everyone listening, what new questions does this raise for you about Mike's fate, about Regulus 5, about Schwatten or Kyrem? Go back, maybe listen to some MWF episodes and think about these tracks. Does it change anything?
Considering the Doza Crew's music not just as background noise, but as a potential narrative layer, it adds a whole new dimension. It invites a re-listen, a re-evaluation of everything. Perhaps art holds keys that standard intel doesn't.
It feels like we've just found a potential secret soundtrack, maybe even a partial key, to the whole MWF enigma. We'll definitely keep digging into this list, and who knows what else might turn up. Thanks again sincerely to the listener who sent this in. Until next time, keep exploring.